I went to see Supergirl for a second time today at my regular movie theater, not IMAX. I saw it in 3D. This is going to be the most objective, fairest review that I could give it. It's not going to be as harsh as my last controversial video, which I'm sure pissed off a lot of people. That is how I genuinely, honestly felt. But now, watching it a second time, try to break it down piece by piece. What made the movie bad? What made the movie okay? What could have made it better? I'm really going to go down to detail here. For you super fans out there, I suggest you all watch it if you're hardcore super fans. I think what I'm about to say in this video might make people think a little bit of what was missing in this movie, what could have made it better, and what was unnecessary. So sit back, relax, and hell, if you want to debate me on these points, agree or disagree, give me some good debatable reasons, listen to my points, let's have a discussion. Enjoy. I need help. I'm a masochist. Today was kind of a boring day. I decided to go to the movies and rewatch this. I went to a different theater and I saw it in 3D. I went to see Supergirl in 3D. I saw it at 12:30, lunchtime. There was nobody in the movie theater. It was just me, like 2 other people in the front, one guy like on the corner there, and one guy in the other corner. And it was kind of nice, actually. So now, with all of the hype gone, with all of the excitement of the fan-first screenings and all of that, and the, you know, all of this excitement, all these expectations, now that all of that is gone, I went to the movies today with a different approach. I went there just wanting to relax and just chill out and watch a movie, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna hate it, and let me just see how it feels just to sit back, relax. I got one of these with the popcorn because I'm like, damn, I should have got this. I wanted to get this when I was at the AMC theaters, but I just got that cup you saw, so I got it at the theaters here, and it's so cool. I like it a lot. And it lasted me the whole movie, the popcorn. I lasted it the entire movie. And I got this too. I didn't see this at the AMC ones. I saw this at my theater, and I couldn't help it. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm gonna get that. So with nobody being around, and it felt like I owned the movie theater, it was a hell of a nice experience. But let me get down. Let me try to be as objective as possible about Supergirl. And I feel like, for me, I feel like I have to do this because I'm a hardcore Supergirl fan. You know that from watching my channel, Superman, Supergirl. The first video I made calling it trash was my honest to God initial reaction. And I'm not, like, saying I was totally wrong, it was wrong that I said this and that. No. But here, in this video, here is where I'm going to try to be more objective about it, because what I did was I decided to say to myself, let me just forget for a moment that this is based off of Tom King's shitty book, and just like, I'm coming here to just watch a movie that's called Supergirl, see Millie Alcock, see Krypto, see something related to Superman's world, right? So, going in with that kind of expectation for myself and just relaxing, I was able to watch the movie differently and actually look at what's wrong with it legitimately and what was good with it. So to go down, there are some criticisms from my last video that will remain, and I'll tell you why. I even wrote notes here, but I'll tell you the positive stuff from this second viewing. So I would say, you know what's actually kind of funny? If this movie came out maybe like 10 years ago when I was a much more edgier guy, not even 10 years ago, maybe more like 12 years ago now, I probably would have loved this movie more and more because everything I liked was dark. Like, that's why I was so forgiving of like Snyder's movies a bit, because I like dark, you know? But as I got older, strangely, I am more into colorful, lighthearted, fun kind of stuff. It's very strange how tastes change, you know? So maybe if my 16 or 15-year-old self watched this movie, it would have been like the best thing ever. But for me now, it's not. And here's a funny thing though. A lot of people were criticizing the Snyder fans because everything's so dark and James Gunn is going to bring a lighter, more colorful version of the comics to the movie theaters, and I liked Superman 2025 because of how goofy and colorful it felt. Strangely enough, actually, Supergirl doesn't even feel like it's in the James Gunn universe. And you can say, what are you talking about? A lot of people are saying like, oh, this is like Guardians of the Galaxy, or this is like Mad Max. Mad Max, just because Krem looks like, you know, those Raider guys, and they look like Raider guys, but that's about it. And the trucks and shit, and the ugly worlds. But that's about it, though. And Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, I guess just because of the aliens and the goofy-looking stuff a little bit, like in some of the scenes. But no, not Guardians of the Galaxy. It doesn't feel like that. There were a few scenes that felt kind of like I guess you should say like a weird sci-fi like western, right? Which I guess is what they were going for. But what kind of bothers me about all this is like okay, look at over here. Like, let's just look at this Rotten Tomatoes page. Currently, Supergirl is at 57% with the critics. 232 reviews. I called it to my mom. I said, I think the movie will be like in 79, 77%. And that was before the popcorn meter came out. So I called that it would be around like 79% with the people. Even I called that to myself even when I hated the movie. I'm like, but the people are probably going to give it like 75, 79% in that range. Although I am surprised myself that the critics are being so harsh on it. I am kind of surprised about that because, you know, the critics are always kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. You all know what I'm saying. But you know what kind of annoys me though? Like, look at this description. What to know. This is obviously some kind of AI summary of what the critics are saying right now. Millie Alcock brings a swagger to Kara Zor-El that'd make Krypton proud in this otherwise familiar origin story, dawning a promising new hero in the DCU who's still waiting for an adventure that matches her vigor. Now, that has to be AI, right? Because the reason why I'm saying that's AI summary is because Krypton would not be proud of her. What is that? A swagger. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Because her parents are telling her to not be bad, not be tough, and to not be nice, right? Like, they literally tell her in the Krypton scenes to be good, right? And then Superman's talking to her, well, they're very colorful, but it's to let people know that we're good. You know, that kind of shit. But here's what really bothers me about these people and this whole punk rock thing. And, you know, it went a little too far with this punk rock stuff, in my opinion, because when I think of Supergirl and Superman, the last thing I think of is punk rock. But I let that go over my head in Superman because it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, it was just him, like, he grew up with a band, like, listening to music that he liked, and it happened to be punk rock. And he, like, goofily tells Lois in that scene, maybe that's the new punk rock, you know, being compassionate and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I think they're taking this punk rock thing a little too far. It's kind of like, what do you mean punk rock? Like, can somebody answer me that question? What are they talking about? Like, there was one here that kind of got on my nerves. Yeah, like this one by Peter Travers. Millie Alcock does her damnedest to shock this super diva to punk life. But her movie feels like a musty relic whose time has passed, and what's with the lame stunts that never get off the ground? I don't know what he means by that. No, but like, okay, let me ask you guys a question. Like, what the hell does he mean, her damnedest to shock this super diva to punk life? Excuse me? What do you... Most of the time through the movie, she's like raunchy, she's drunk, she's like, she's throwing up poison out of her stomach. Like, she's kind of gross through most of the movies. Is that what punk rock means? Like, just being kind of gross, raunchy, and disgusting. I don't like this guy Peter Travers. Like, looks like he's in his 50s. Like, what does he know about punk rock? He that's the last guy that looks like he's some kind of punk rocker. Like, when I think of punk rock, and I'm not even that into that. I'm into hip hop. I used to be into metal. I'm not into metal as much anymore. I'm into like orchestral type of music, mostly movie music, that kind of stuff, you know? So when I think of punk rock, like, I think of like the 90s, but I think of like all the different kind of annoying hairstyles and the shitty looking clothes. I mean, I guess that's what it is, but like, I don't understand why people are associating that with Supergirl. Because even when you read the Tom King comic, like, there's nothing about being punk rock in the Tom King comic. Like, she's just getting drunk and she's like depressed and she wears the trench coat, but she still wears her suit while she's wearing the trench coat. But like, she's just kind of like not giving a shit in the comic. But maybe it did mention it in the comic, I just don't remember. But I don't remember it being such an emphasis. So all these people, I honestly feel like all of these people who keep just like generically keep bringing up the same punk rock bullshit are just like following the sheep. Like, they're just repeating whatever, like, they heard somebody say, oh, this is punk rock, oh, Supergirl, punk rock, and now everybody is just saying like punk rock, punk rock, punk rock, you know? And it's kind of like, that's not Supergirl. Like, Supergirl is like kind of like a Girl Scout. Superman is a Boy Scout. Supergirl is a Girl Scout. Like, and you're a little different dynamic than Superman. I've said this in my previous videos, but she's really supposed to be like the equivalent of Superman, a bit more playful, you know, that kind of stuff. But like, she does everything good. So I don't understand, like, why does Supergirl need to be shocked to life? Like, that's like if they say, ooh, Wonder Woman, like, let's say, what was her name? Gal Gadot gives this super diva Wonder Woman a punk rock shock. It's like, but does Wonder Woman need a punk rock shock? No. If I want to watch some punk rock shit, I'll just like play some game like Life is Strange if I'm feeling that fucking miserable with my life. But let me get off this punk rock nonsense, because it is nonsense. I'm sorry. If you took out this punk rock narrative that they got going on for this movie, it would be less cringe. Like, it feels like it's like these older people who are like, "What, kids still like punk rock, right? Let's just keep saying punk rock, and that's sure to make all the little kids and the kids go in because they all like that stuff." It's like, you guys grew older from the 90s, and the kids now had nothing to do with the punk rock age. So, who are you trying to impress with this? But like, for me, it's not as important. Like, I see Supergirl because I like Supergirl, and that's it, right? So look, let me get down to just some of my notes so I could stay on topic here. So I say like, this is far from James Gunn's vision, this movie, because James Gunn, the whole marketing ploy, the whole selling shit that they were giving us when Superman came out, and when all the people were talking crap against the Snyder Bros, which I don't see any reason to hate those guys. I think they're just very hardcore fans, and they got their thing. You know, like, who cares if they like Snyder stuff more? That's their thing. But I'm not here to defend Snyder Bros. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is, it's very hypocritical, this movie, in terms of its conception, because James Gunn's Superman was like Silver Age, colorful, and they were always saying this Superman is going to be filled with hope and optimism and, you know, yada yada yada. And it was great. I loved it. So Supergirl really should have been the same thing. Now, yes, you could still have Supergirl go through her arc of being drunk, if you really have to have her being drunk and raunchy and mean. You could still have her be like that, but the worlds and everything should have been much more colorful. Not all the worlds, but like, I think like the overall atmosphere and the space scenes, like even Guardians of the Galaxy, like the reason why I say it's not like Guardians of the Galaxy is because at least with Guardians of the Galaxy, the space scenes were colorful, bombastic, fun. The space scenes in Supergirl are just kind of there, and it's like, you know what it feels like actually? It feels like Interstellar, or it feels like Gravity. Like it feels like it's trying to be too realistic for its own good. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people will like that, and I understand why a lot of people will like the more realistic, dark take in Supergirl, but we were promised by James Gunn that this was going to be more comic-y, more wacky, you know, and he delivered on that with Superman and also in Peacemaker, because let's be honest, I know a lot of people don't like Peacemaker because of the orgy scene in episode 1, and I could understand why a lot of people tuned out on that. Like, I think they should not have had that scene. You didn't need that scene in there. If you took out the orgy scene, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal. So, but like, besides the orgy scene, like, Peacemaker is pretty fucking wacky. So that's what I like about it. Suicide Squad was very colorful, very artsy. Suicide Squad by James Gunn, not the James Ayer one, which was okay, but I like the James Gunn Suicide Squad a lot more. But that was very colorful, like, you know, Harley Quinn, and when she was seeing the Disney characters, they were showing you how fucking crazy she is in her mind. So, like, in all of James Gunn's movies, which are mostly all good for me, he does do, like, really comic-y, wacky things. Like, he's not afraid to be colorful, wild, and fucking fun. That's where this movie fails. It isn't fun. It isn't colorful. And what's strange is the source material, and just saying this is an objective fact, the source material, the book that it's based off of, is way more colorful, and I mean, that was what made the book actually good. The story sucks still, but the artwork by Elvis Bill, I can't say the artist's name, I forgot it, but the drawings and the colors really popped out, and like, I even have some shirts of the Supergirl from that comic, because it's very unique art style. I like it, you know? Not that I would prefer that for like an ongoing series of Supergirl. I much prefer the Sophie Campbell art style that's going on right now. So thankfully, this art style was just retained for that 8 miniseries by Tom King, written by Tom King. But even in that, like, the worlds that they drew, like, there was forest, water, beaches, flower, lots of different animals, lots of different aliens, and there were some ugly aliens, but I don't remember them being so ugly like they were in this. Like whoever designed the aliens in this was going for that, like, they were going more for that Star Wars Mos Eisley Cantina look, you know, like all the freaky deaky aliens that you see in the Star Wars movies, which is fine. Like, I'm not shitting on the designs of the aliens, because like, they were actually some really cool designs, right? Like, they looked really cool, but it just felt like too dark for what it should be. And so what is the hypocrisy that I was trying to bring up in this point? So we all know that the Gunn people on the Gunn fan side, and there's the Snyder Bros side. I'm on neither, because if I like the movie, I just like the movie. Like, I liked Snyder movies and with criticisms of those, and I love Gunn's movies. So like, it's like my politics. Like, I'm just like, if I like something, I like something. It has nothing to do with the fact that I want to be like a Gunn bro or a Snyder bro. It's like, do I like the movie? And that's it. It's as simple as that. But the hypocrisy in Supergirl is, this actually felt like a Snyderverse movie. And I wonder if I'm the only one who's saying this. Like, if anybody else feels the way I feel, like, if this was made during Snyder's reign of the DC movies, to be honest with you, this would have been fucking awesome. Like, it would have fit more in Snyder's verse, because it's so dark, grungy, mean, you know what I mean? So like, this actually would have made way more sense in Snyder's verse than it does in Gunn's verse. So like Gunn is kind of being, I think he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, because it's like, look, you said you were trying to do something different from Snyder, but here you are giving us something. I mean, it's like a Snyder bro dream, this movie, you know? So, but that's what's crazy. Like, I wonder if anybody else is bringing up that point, because that's certainly what I think now. Like, after the second watching, like, this would have fit perfectly in the Snyderverse. And Lobo, who I still feel like was kind of a flat performance, and frankly, I actually think it would have been better if they didn't have Lobo at all in the movie. And I know you're gonna say, like, that's blasphemy, dude. Jason Momoa, at least we have Jason Momoa, and it's like, I don't think he did the movie a favor, because, I mean, strategically, from a market point of view, from a business point of view, it absolutely made sense that they brought Jason Momoa to get more attention, to get more eyes on this, you know, and as I said in my previous videos, to kind of serve as the Daryl Dixon of DC, right? But frankly, I think he kind of just wasted the space a little bit, because it just felt like you had all these Raider characters, these generic Raider guys, and Krem, and like Lobo just didn't stick out as much in all of this mess. I mean, and in the comic, he's not even in it in the comic, actually. So, and unless it was actually like a partnership, like they were hyping up on the articles before Supergirl came out, like they were really hyping the Lobo thing, like it was going to be a partnership. So you know what I pictured before the movie came out, like before I went to see it, like that they were actually going to be like mano a mano with Ruthie, and the three of them were going to be on the adventure together. But all it was he was separated doing his own thing like the few times, and then at the end of the movie is when like he just happens to save Kara from getting her head chopped off by Krem, which how could, even though she's weakened by the kryptonite, how could he cut her head off with the regular sword? Like, to cut Kara's head off, you'd have to have a kryptonite sword. Am I wrong about that? Well, I guess if you weakened her with the kryptonite and the solar radiation around her body and in her body is weakened, I guess. No, I guess so. I'm sorry about that. All right, but back to my point. So yeah, like all Lobo really does is he doesn't serve any plot purpose. Like there's really no reason for him to be there. And on my second viewing, I realized too now that it's kind of lazy writing when he's in the prison and Ruthie like gets out, and I thought at first unlocked it and got him out of the jail cell. Second viewing, paying more attention, I realized that like they're using the writing to be like, oh, look how cool Lobo is. He actually wasn't captured. He's just waiting. Like he says, oh, I'm just waiting. A bounty hunter lays his traps and then he just waits, right? So obviously Lobo had another thing and he actually wasn't in prison. He let them capture him. I'm sorry, dude. Lobo, I don't really think Lobo would act like that, bro. Like, dude, Lobo wouldn't need to do that kind of strategy. Like, he just fucking goes through everybody. Have you read the comics, dude? The guy is a fucking mass murdering machine. So, and the other thing, yeah, just a lot of things that I think Lobo actually, second viewing, I actually think Lobo brought the movie down more. And I think if you took Lobo out, you could have used more of that screen time to develop Millie Alcock's Supergirl. And what I mean by that, I would have, if you've taken Jason Momoa out of Supergirl, I would have given more time to David Cornsweet and Millie Alcock. So like, I like the flashback scenes with Superman and stuff. So if you didn't have those scenes taking up the space with Jason Momoa, I would have used those scenes to show like Superman helping Kara adapt to Earth, showing her like the stuff of Earth, and she's like, you know, and kind of connect it to why she's the way she is right now. And here's what I mean. We see her in the movie like she's drunk and she wants to be on a red planet, and in the beginning of the movie she's like telling Krypto, you know, boy, maybe we should just stay here and be like red folks and feel things and get drunk or whatever this is that I'm drinking and you know, feel pain like a human being, right? So then maybe you would have had a flashback of her on Earth, and like trying to fit in with humans with Clark, and she just couldn't fit in with humans because of like her invulnerability and all of her feelings and all of her powers. You know what I'm saying? So if you kind of use that time instead to develop Kara and to show why she didn't want to stay on Earth with Clark, I think it would have really boosted Alcock. It would have really... I'm just going to say Millie, because I just feel weird saying that. It would have actually boosted it. And here's why I'm softening up on Millie, because there were some scenes. I even wrote it on the notes here. Let me see. Yeah, so like, there was the Krypton scene where they go on Argo. I said Argus in the last video. I don't know why I thought of the Doom level from the Doom video game, but on Argo and the Krypton scenes, like, Millie actually shined as Kara Zor-El. She was acting like her. She was kind of acting normal a little bit, and her father and mother actually wasn't as bad as I remembered. Of course, the mother, Allura, is nothing like the actress from the CW show. And, you know, because that's the same actress who played her twin, the aunt, that she fights in CW, to season 1. So, you know, the mother and the father can't really hold up to my vision of her parents from that show. But otherwise, like, the dialogue between the mother, the father, and Kara as their daughter was really good. I actually enjoyed it. And it didn't... Some of the issues that people are having with, like, that Jor-El did set, and that they doubled down on Jor-El sending Superman to conquer worlds, like people are like saying, Film Threat actually pointed that out, and yeah, like, I get what they're saying, like they're doubling down on Jor-El being like an insane villain and a bad guy who wanted Clark to take over the world. I don't know, it doesn't bother me as much, because it's like, yeah, I know in the comics Jor-El is not like that at all, and in Man of Steel and Christopher Reeve's movies, he's the icon, he's the symbol of the father. But it's like, I mean, you know, you don't have to do the same thing every time. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, you're being a hypocrite then, because you don't have to do the same thing with Kara. She could be a punk rocker. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's just, the parents are important. The father and the mother are important characters. But it's like, for James Gunn's universe, it's his thing. That's it. Just like Snyder's universe, like where Snyder did what he wanted with some things, like making Superman more dark and broody, because it's like more of, again, a more realistic take on the world and how an actual person like Superman would be in a world with all the complicated bullshit that we live in, right? So that's how these things are going to have to be. Like, you have to kind of make these compromises, like, well, yeah, these directors are going to make these kind of changes, but overall, like, so even though, like, my complaint about the punk rock stuff with Supergirl, there are moments actually where Millie really shines, and I actually take back my last video about Man of Tomorrow. Is Superman going to get cocked by Millie? And because, like, now that she's turning a new leaf after all she went through, I think she's going to be Supergirl in the next movie, and I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. So I take back my concerns. Otherwise, another criticism that still remains, I still think that she shouldn't have killed Krem. So, like, here's where it's even more lazy writing. Even though I still think that Lobo should not have even been in the movie, he added absolutely nothing to the movie, because the story on itself didn't need him, and he didn't add anything, like, nothing. He just saved her, but you don't really need that. You didn't need him to save her, right? I mean, it could have been Ruthie, or it could have been anything else that was already in the contained story. But since we have Lobo in the movie anyway, right? What you should have really did, instead of having Supergirl kill Krem, which is completely, not only is it's not just bad because it's not Supergirl, it's bad objectively because of the writing of the movie. And what I mean is, multiple times Supergirl tells Ruthie, no, I don't want to turn you into a child murderer. No, you don't want to do that because it'll ruin you and you'll never forget it. And, you know, she's like saying all the right things about why Ruthie shouldn't take vengeance on Krem. So, like, why did Supergirl kill Krem? Like her motivation in itself, like, it comes off very shallow when she's, this is for my dog, and she kills him. And it's like, wait a minute, wait, so, and hear me out on this, hear me out, because this is why that writing is really bad. So you're telling Ruthie, who lost her mother, her father, and her brother to Krem, you're telling her not to take vengeance for that, right? Because it's wrong, and it's not going to make you feel better. But you, Supergirl, murders Krem because he shot and poisoned Krypto, but you have the antidote now, so you know you could go back and save Krypto. So Krypto didn't even die. So what is really Supergirl's motivation for murdering Krem? I mean, yes, we could say he's a super evil villain, and he had all these, like, brides on the side. Like, that's another Mad Max reference. I guess that's why people are saying that. So yeah, like, you could say that, but it didn't add up, because from what she was telling Ruthie, the example she was trying to set, and that she didn't set the example for herself, it didn't make any sense. So that's not Millie's fault. That's whoever wrote the script, that's their fault. Like, they said James Gunn looked over the script until it was solid. Are you sure, James? Did you really? Because that's an easy thing to look at. Like, who are your editors, bro? Are they even looking at this stuff? Like, there's too many contradicting points that didn't make sense contextually. You know what I mean? Now, off of that. But yeah, like, so instead of corrupting Supergirl's character, since you have Lobo just taking up space and just taking up space, I would have had Lobo murdered Krem for them, right? Like maybe like how in Superman 2025, when they're fighting that giant monster, and like the Justice Gang kills the monster, and Superman is like, oh, there could have been anything else we could have did. Put him in a zoo, put him in this, blah blah. Like, it could have been like that. Like, you know, maybe Kara was gonna put him in some kind of prison, or she could have called up Clark and be like, hey Clark, what do you do when you got like some really bad assholes? What do you do with them, you know? And then maybe Supes could have been like, well, we don't kill them, but we could put him in a prison, we could put him in here, we could put him in that, right? Anything. And then, like, when they're about to do it, Lobo would have come in and be like, nope, and he could have, like, busted Krem's head or killed him right there, and Kara could have been like, oh, what are you doing? We were gonna put him in prison, what are you doing? You know? And that would have made a little more contextual sense from what the writing was telling us throughout the movie. I mean, she was even yelling at Lobo during the final fight scene. She was saying to him he was about to kill Krem. It's like, no, don't do it. Like, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense at all. But see, like, I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but I'm actually genuinely trying to be as objective as I can. Like, I think these are actually good criticisms. I think these are actual things that don't make sense in the plot, and I'm saying how the movie could have been better. Like, I'm surprised. I mean, these people are being paid a lot of money to write these scripts, to write these things, and to edit and look over things. Like, I'm surprised there aren't anybody else, like, seeing these little issues and saying what I'm saying. I'm not getting paid for this, and I see this. But yeah, like, the parents were great, actually. I kind of enjoyed the Argo dialogue. Millie actually showed more of her humanity in those scenes, so I do see good potential in her now than I did previously. I'm keeping the t-shirts with her face on it now. I'm not sending them back like I said in the last video. Okay, so let me go also back to the lighting of this movie. So this goes off of how there's absolutely no color, and it's not colorful like Gunn's universe promised to be, and it's more like a Snyderverse, dark, like evil multiverse we're in. But it's not even that, though. Like, the problem with this, it's not even on the level of Snyder's dark lighting and darkish atmospheres that he would show us in Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel, stuff like that, or Justice League, the Snyder Cut. What I mean by that is, now even though Snyder's fight scenes and a lot of the things are dark, they're well lit, They're very nice. I could see what's happening in the scenes. I could clearly see the choreography, the dance moves, right? The fighting that's going on. So that's what this movie is missing. It's literally dark. Now, we're not even speaking metaphorically dark, that it's like so broody and mean, right? I'm speaking now like the lighting is terrible. Like the lighting crew that they had on this movie, or whoever was in charge of like doing the lighting for the fights and even the lighting for some of the dialogue scenes and even the bar scenes, doesn't show anything. Like nothing really stands out. You know, I mean, there's a few things that do sometimes, but like for the fighting is so mush. And here's another mistake. You know how in the trailer they show where she's in the bar and they all have their guns on her, and they're like, and she's like, well, this doesn't look like it's gonna end well for you, I mean, right? Which is funny. And then it shows like she throws Ruthie over the table, and Ruthie is protected from the fighting that you see on the side. In the movie, you see like some of the fighting of that, like in the bar, but it's not as good as it should have been. Like what you saw in the trailer is pretty much most of that scene. And you're like, yeah, you see her like throwing her fist around and throwing a couple of guys around, but it's not as memorable as it should be. I don't know why. Like, it's the lighting and the color scheme and the color choices of the movie. There's nothing that really stands out until the end, where she puts on the Supergirl suit. And now you might be like, well, maybe they're doing that to be metaphorical, whatever the fuck. Well, she's been down throughout the whole movie, so the whole movie has to be dark, and the moment she puts on the suit, all the colors come back. No, dude, that's dumb, because in the comic, as dark as and dank as and as down as Kara was in the beginning of the comic, drunk, not wanting to bother with anybody, the worlds around her were still colorful. Ruthie was colorful. Yeah, you know what would have been cool? They should have gave Ruthie purple eyes like in the comic. I mean, just to be unique. Like, they could have given her like a light, glow, purple eyes, right? Like she has in the comic. Like, I know you guys are going to dunk on me because, oh, shut up with the comic, but there's a reason why comics are awesome. And you could translate that to the movie to create these iconic like characters with color. Color is very important, and that is something that this movie mostly lacks. Color. It feels too dank. It feels too realistic for Supergirl. It should be like Superman 2025, you know. So yeah, like I say, like the best scenes was with fighting wise, where I could see the fighting, I could see the choreography. Mostly was the fight at the end. But again, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't need Lobo. Lobo didn't add anything to the fight, because seeing him riding the motorcycle and blowing shit up, actually, it was kind of dumb. And it kind of took away Supergirl's spotlight. I mean, it's called Supergirl. You know what I mean? I know you could say Superman fit in, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, all those guys. But the way they did it in 25... it was good. Like, it felt balanced enough, because Superman had a lot of great moments that really shined. Fight-wise, everything. Scenery-wise. Supergirl didn't have enough of that in this. There was too many moments of her in the trench coat and the blondie shirt and the raunchy look and the dark look. And then the moments where she's finally Supergirl, it's not enough. We needed more of that. You know, we needed more of the flying scenes of her in her Supergirl suit. Like that scene in the beginning of the movie where she's fighting the space pirates. It's a cool scene, but not a cool scene. Like, the motions look good in the screen in the movies, like where she's flying, but it's so dark. It's very hard to see her face in that scene, and it kind of comes up like a little jumbled a little bit. If they had her wearing the super suit while with the trench coat flying in that space scene, dude, it would be iconic. It would have been so good. You know what I'm saying? But to me, she just looks like just some chick flying in space. Like, it could be any movie. Like, if I didn't tell you that was Supergirl and I just showed you that movie, That scene, it just feels like it could be any sci-fi movie. You know, like a lot of the scenes in this movie feels like it could just be any sci-fi movie. It lacks Kara, Supergirl's identity throughout it. I hate to say it. And that was the one thing that the artist got right in the book. At least the world around it made sense. The colors were nice. To those people who didn't read the comic, so I hear a lot of people complaining about the part where she falls on the planet. They trap her, where it's the planet with the yellow and green sun. Like, that was poorly done. Because in the comic, I'm not looking back at the comic right now, so I'm just going off of my memory. But the planet that Krem drops her off on in the book was like an artificial planet or something that I think Lex Luthor or one of Superman's villains created to trap him on and keep him there. And he designed a kryptonite sun. Like, I might be wrong, correct me. I don't feel like opening up the book I got in the shelf again right now. But I'm pretty sure the sun was actually like made out of kryptonite in the comic. That's why it was so. And it was. But that was a scene I didn't like in the comic because it was also like another way for Tom King to dig into Superman, because Supergirl was like, oh, look at that. I even have to be in a world that was made for Superman to kill him, and I'm gonna die here. Everything's about Superman. That was in the comic, like literally, like that was a dialogue or something like that in the comic. So I didn't like that anyway. But at least they should have had a better explanation, because it does look like it's just green light from a green sun. Like that was, because green light is not what hurts a Kryptonian. It's kryptonite. Okay, so that should have been explained way better. They didn't explain it. And another plot hole is that it comes up with a yellow sun. So like, why did Krem drop her off there? Like, did he think she would not last long enough until the yellow sun? I don't know. That was really dumb. So yeah, Krem was. I'm not surprised that Krem was so generic, because he was pretty generic in the comic as well. I mean, all he was just a guy who commits genocide all over the universe, and we have to stop him because he's a genocidal maniac. But like, there wasn't any like, like, to me, what makes a villain great? What makes a villain great? You know what? I'm gonna make this screen just what makes a villain great is their origin. Not origin. You don't have to know their origin story, but like, you have to know a little bit about their motivations, a little bit. And even if the motivations are evil, like Krem, like there's nothing good about what Krem is doing, it still has to make a little sense, because it's just evil for no reason. And I know you can say, oh, but that's evil. Right. But I'm saying, for a story, for character development, you have to make the villain a little more interesting than that. Otherwise, it's just very flat, very shallow. And that's how Krem came out, unfortunately. My another criticism that is the most important criticism is the score for this movie. And the score is it's disappointing in terms of compared to Superman 2025. Superman 2025 had such an epic soundtrack because it gave homage to John Williams, Christopher Reeves, with its own little twist, and it really like juiced you up for Superman and those scenes, and it was like, really, you felt the music in that. The music, like, this is another thing I don't like with this punk rock bullshit. Like, all right, you keep saying the narrative of punk rock for your whatever marketing ploy that you guys are trying to spin up here with this. But there isn't even really any punk rockish music that's like really gritty. Like the fight scene they're having at the end, and like, in the trailer where, like, let me get it up here. Do you guys remember this part where she is having that final fight and all this crazy stuff is going on, and like, she saves Ruthie from getting run over by a flying motorcycle from all the chaos and stuff? This scene that they show you, and it's got all the cool like fighting choreography, the music that they play in it was like this pop song that I don't like. I don't even know what it's called. but you all know what I'm talking about if you watch it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it literally sounds like a song from like the mid 2000s in one of those like comedy romance movies. It did not fit the final fight at all. Like, the music that they use in the Supergirl trailer, Broken Hearted, like, that song should have been in the movie. Like, that song made the movie look so good in this trailer for me. Like, they should have had music like that, and they didn't. They didn't have any music that really stood out throughout the movie. The good orchestral type music was like during the Krypton scenes a little bit, and when Kara was like kind of emotional about stuff, that was kind of nice. But throughout it, like the music was missing. Like, there was music there, but it just felt like it was just filling the time, like just there to fill in the space mostly. And even Lobo didn't have any cool theme or anything. You know, and you're gonna say like, well, you're being so picky. Well, even a movie like Venom: The Last Dance, with all the criticism you want to say about that, like, came out with some pretty cool songs. I mean, like theme songs though, like when it reveals Null, you know, Venom's villain, the god of the void, it has this like really like, like this really dark, bassy, like evil music for Null every time they show him. And for me, just for that scene, I love that scene with Null, how evil and dark and crazy and bad he is. Like, that music alone made Venom: The Last Dance memorable for me. Like, I always remember Null in that scene. There wasn't a moment like that in this. There wasn't a really cool thematic moment where it's like, I'm always going to remember that. You know, like Superman had a lot of moments like that where like he did something great and the music that played along with it was like dun 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 dun. You know, even when he fought Ultraman, the music was fucking phenomenal. So there was no phenomenal music for this, and Krem is just a terrible villain for Supergirl. Like, you could have it just didn't. The motivation was not. It was very lacking. You know, very lacking. The music is so important, and so that's another reason why, like, I think this punk rock thing is just some bullshit that the James Gunn came up with, and now everybody's just repeating the line, and because it sounds cool on the marketing team, and they're all like, oh yeah, punk rock Supergirl. It's like, but you don't even have any good music in the movie. Like, that really, really, really stood out to me. I can't even think of it. I can't. But let's just look through, like, just this trailer here. Let me get the trailer. Alright, like this Broken Hearted trailer, I highly recommend you watch it because it does a very good job with the pacing and everything. But yeah, like, Krypto really gets done dirty in this. I honestly would have... I'm actually surprised that out of all of the things that DC decided to keep in this movie from the Tom King book, I am actually surprised that they decided to keep the dog getting poisoned and being, like, benched for the movie. Because for marketing reasons, man, I would have kept the dog in through the whole movie, like in Superman 2025. Like, I would have been like, fuck Tom King on that one too. Keep Krypto with Supergirl, fighting alongside with them, or even if you don't want him fighting again, just have him around or something. And I'm seeing comments and people talking about, like, that they're trying to be like John Wick, because, you know, John Wick lost his dog, and that's what, you know, after losing everything, and then he goes on his vengeance spree. But it doesn't feel the same as that, because we all know that Krypto doesn't die. I just want to quickly show you an example. Like, you see in this shot here, this is really, like, this is the lighting of the whole movie, like, except for the end. So the whole movie, there's like these fight scenes with her, and whether she's flying in space from the space pirates or fighting the raiders in this scene, you can barely see her face. Like, the lighting is atrocious. Like, why do we see 3 lights like that. But no, besides that fact, like, to me, we should see the character's face most of the film, because, I don't know, it just feels right. But a lot of it feels like they're covering up her face during the action scenes, and I have a feeling they're doing that because the CG they're using in some of the fight scenes, for some reason, the CG just, it doesn't look that good. I know a lot of people had issues with Superman 2025's CGI, and I even was saying some of the stuff in the beginning about like how the camera was a little too wide and they had too much space around the subject in some of the shots. But overall, the CG was really good in Superman. But I got a feeling they also went very dark with this because they didn't seem to do that good of a job with the CG. I heard someone even say like the CG and the atmosphere is circa 1990s. And it's like, yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it is very grungy and very, it's not fun. Like, the action scenes aren't as fun as they should be. Like, it helps, it just moves the story along because it's supposed to, but it's not like a memorable event. Let's go back to Superman. Memorable events. Giant monster, tearing through the city. Even the beginning scene where Superman immediately starts off where his face is planted on the ground, and then he flies back to Metropolis to fight Ultraman, before Ultraman reveals himself, right? He's as Baravian Hammer, right? Even that fight scene where the Baravian Hammer freaking twirls Superman around like nothing and throws him down into the ground was memorable. Everything from the fight scene with Ultraman. My favorite fight scene in Superman 25 is the football stadium scene where he's fighting the girl that has all the nanites and stuff. I forgot her name. And Ultraman while he's wearing the mask. And they're like trying to kill him with the nanites. That scene is just awesome. Or even the scenes where he goes into the other dimension to save himself and Metamorpho and get out of there. That was a great scene. And then lastly, the Ultraman fight was great, and even the way Superman fought the Raptors was great. So Superman 2025, definitely they put a lot towards the CG, but it seems to me like they kind of ran out of money or something must have happened with the CG because they're covering up a lot of stuff with the darkness, I think. So while it's also an aesthetic that they chose for this movie's atmosphere, I also have the feeling that they went this route because they for some reason, either they didn't have the budget for better CG, or they just couldn't do it somehow. I don't know. I mean, you look at the drawings and the colors and the worlds that you see in the comic book, and you tell me, is that impossible to reproduce for a 2-hour movie? I don't think so. I think they could have did it real easily. But it seems to me like they got lazy on Supergirl. I think they got lazy on Supergirl. That's what I think. I think they didn't put as much effort into it as they did with Superman. That's my honest to God thoughts. Whether that's because they looked at their projections and maybe they don't think this movie, they didn't think this movie is going to do as good as Superman. And I know people say Superman didn't even do as good compared to like Man of Steel, if you account for inflation and all that stuff from 2013 to 2025. But I also, everybody around is struggling in the economy. So there's so many things in here that it just feels like it was a lackluster effort for Supergirl. I feel like she deserved a bit more. But now the last positive, actually, which goes against my last video about Man of Tomorrow. Now that she's back, she's with Clark, she's talking to him, and she's gonna stay on Earth now. She seems to have her act together. And I think it's going to be okay. I think the Man of Tomorrow with Supergirl in it, I don't think there's going to be a problem. I hope not. I really do. If they keep it consistent and they go back to the colorful Silver Agey feels of 25, in Man of Tomorrow, I think it's going to be fine. I'm not making any big claims though, because this still remains disappointing from what I was expecting. Like, I'm telling you, that broken-hearted trailer, like I was excited. Like that broken-hearted trailer makes a movie look better than it actually is. Like, it makes it look more epic and more fun and more like, I really was hoping that the music score was going to be something to remember, but it wasn't. Now, I'm sure, like, YouTube channels will find, like Alien Worlds will find some good bits of music and make an atmospheric video of Supergirl eventually that I might not have noticed or realized. But I really, like, I don't remember any music that really stood out for me. That's just me. And I that last song that they chose for the final fight was bad. I didn't like that song at all. It was very dumb. Very dumb. Alright guys, so I think that concludes this very detailed, as objective as possible review that I could give of Supergirl. Gave it a second chance on Friday, June 26th on its release day. I watched it at the fan screening on June 24th on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. And we all know from my very emotional, very outrageous video, calling it trash, putting my girl, Melissa Benoist, on there, laughing along and saying, bitch please, like, this is Supergirl? Hell no, not like the CW one. But yeah, what you guys let me know from more of these points that you've given out. I've really put out as objective as I can. Do you think these are good points? And could these ideas that I've had, like Lobo shouldn't have been in there, given more time for Millie's version of Supergirl to grow? Do you think like all those kinds of ideas would have made the film better? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and actually, let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. I can't change the review. It's too late now. I'm not sure how I can. I went to try to go on the Rotten Tomatoes account, but I did it through the Fandango home. And I can't seem to change the review. I'm covering up my name because, I mean, not that it matters, but I don't want you to see my name. But it's, this is me here. I gave it a half. That's me. So, honestly, though, to be honest with you, I guess I would give it a 2 now. But that doesn't, it's not a huge improvement. Like, it's not a great movie. It's not the worst thing like I gave here. I think that's a bit unfair. I can't go back, though, on it seems. I'm not sure how to fix that. But I think I would give it maybe a 2, a 2.5. Because it was okay, I mean, it had some moments, but it's still, it's not great. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Alright, guys, so thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, I guess, if you like this. If you're a hardcore super fan, stay tuned. It's all going to be comics and Superman stuff. You guys have a good rest of your day.